To me, it's the last mounted war game.
Once you get on the back of the horse, you lose all sense of everything else around you.
If we could bring those people back from 2,000 years ago, I don't believe that they would even recognize today's game.
And it's a great game.
There's a palpable energy and excitement that you can feel. Most of the time you're going like, oh, did you see that? You know?
Un partido, una salida de golf en el medio de un terremoto.
We have to preserve the past for the generations of the future. So just being able to tell the story and to be able to preserve the stories and to educate people about what the history and tradition of the sport is very compelling.
Putting Argentine right out in front. Louis Duggan scoring a goal in the first 30 seconds of play.
It is not known exactly where it started and how it started, probably in the Empire of Persia. It was started by the armies of those times.
It was a tribal game played in Iran, Iraq, Persia, basically with no rules. It was 100 versus 100, no time limit, and scoring-wise, who knew? The concept was to hone the horsemanship and craftsmanship, hand-to-eye coordination for combat.
You know, we're not exactly sure exactly where it originated. There's a lot of, indicators that we look at, but it was before written times, so we're dependent on some depictions of artwork to maybe give us those indications. And then you finally get to your written histories that put it around 600 BC. It was our first written details about an actual polo match.
It started in Persia and then came down to India, Pakistan. In fact, in 1210 AD, Qutbuddin Aibak, the emperor at that time, died while playing polo, so we have that history.
The Chinese dynasties over the years, for years, used it as training, and it was also used by the emperors. It was kind of an elitist sport at that point.
And then when the British came, they also picked up this sport, and the British Army regiments were all playing polo over here because of the cavalry. They took the game back to England and then to Europe, and from there it spread all over the world.
Somewhere around 1876 it comes to the United States. Very close to that it goes to Argentina.
Acá estamos en Palermo. Este lugar antiguamente era de un presidente que tuvo la Argentina, que fue Juan Manuel de Rosas. Esta zona era toda un alfalfal en una parte de abajo. El río está muy cerca de acá, pero con el tiempo fue creciendo y se volvió una zona hípica. Esto es un corredor hípico dentro de Buenos Aires. Como en la mayoría de las naciones alrededor del mundo que practican este deporte, quien termina trayendo el polo a la Argentina son los ingleses. Vienen tratando de desarrollar distintas industrias, en el caso de la Argentina, la agrícola, ganadero, que por excelencia las dos industrias madres de la Argentina, y donde ellos van avanzando, también va avanzando el ferrocarril y uno va mirando y van apareciendo un montón de clubes de polo. Van buscando símbolos de su patria a esas estaciones y alrededor de eso aparece siempre un club de polo. Prende muy rápido en la gente acá. El caballo de polo es muy fácil de mantenerlo en la República Argentina. Y un detalle muy particular, si uno va al censo de 1930, año más, año menos, va a encontrar que en la Argentina es uno de los pocos países en el mundo que para esa época había 7 caballos por cada habitante. Cuando se da la gira del 22, donde la Argentina hace primero Gran Bretaña y después va a Estados Unidos y gana el abierto también de Estados Unidos, empieza una relación de ida y vuelta muy importante con Estados Unidos, pero no solamente de los polistas entre ellos, sino también de las fuerzas militares.
James Gordon Bennett had been to England and he had seen the game of polo. So James Gordon Bennett came back to America 1876 and his mates jumped on a horse and had a go at polo.
In 1886, there's still a big differential between England and the United States. This is before the USPA is formed. We'd come far enough along that we felt we could challenge them. It was originally crafted as the International Cup to be played England against the United States. It was first played at the Westchester Club in Newport, Rhode Island.
The first Westchester Cup, England won handsomely.
We, the United States, didn't get crafty enough to win that until 1909, when our players basically at that point developed a back shot. Up until that point in time, the back shot was there, but that number 4 player on the team was considered the back. He was basically kind of like a goaltender would be in hockey. When that happened, we had kind of come into our own. We have an association which comes to life in 1890, and there are rules to the game. There are time limits for the game. There are penalties in the game. All of this is being developed. 33,000 people show up to see America versus England at the Meadowbrook Club. That in itself tells you, I think, the sport had arrived.
When you think back 100 years ago, in the 20s, women weren't allowed to be admitted in the United States Polo Association. It was, bad form for them to be seen playing polo, and it was socially unacceptable for them to ride astride. So the early ladies playing polo even had to ride side saddle and play polo. In the 1920s, there were some ladies who registered for the United States Polo Association. A lady named Pansy Ireland in 1925, she was registered with the USPA. Well, Peter Vischer, in one of his early polo magazine, gave a shout out to the ladies and was congratulating them for being part of the United States Polo Association, whereupon the Polo Association said, hold on now, we have women on our association, because they had registered with their initials, so it wasn't immediately apparent that they were women. So they booted them out of the association, and Mr. Vischer then wrote them a scathing letter scolding the USPA for such a dirty trick. It's interesting because we do have a copy of that original letter here in the museum, which I find really a fun, piece of memorabilia. So the women that had to make their own polo associations, so there was a group of pioneering women who came along and created the first Women's Polo Association in 1936, and they got up to like 300 playing members. And then as most polo did with the advent of World War II, everybody turned their attention to the focus of the war effort, so it kind of, met its demise, and then, women's polo resurfaced later. So basically, I'd say just the evolution of women's polo from the early days to now has made, some really astounding progress, but it's also astonishing to realize how far behind we were just 100 years ago.
I think it ramps up sometime in the early 60s here at the Royal Palm Polo Club. Mr. Jon Oxley brought in some players from Argentina and horses. He wanted to elevate the level of play here in the United States. He knew the only way to get that done is to play against better players, to learn from them and get the techniques and maybe see what their horses can and can't do. So I think the golden era brings it together. It starts to develop, rules are getting better, timing gets better, horse flesh gets better. These players are coming with better and faster and more horses. Today's Open is in excess of 100 horses at the field, every game.
Some people go, oh, well, polo's dying, and I think every generation says that about things that they're not accustomed to. Polo has a 2,600-year-old history. It's not going to die. It's going to change, and it's going to evolve, and it's just going to keep getting better.
We've imported a lot of Argentine mares which have made the game very fast and very good to watch. Eventually, I feel that with the better grounds and better horses, we will come up, because there are a lot of youngsters who are showing potential today that will, in a few years, go up to higher handicaps.
Here at the museum, I look to get more spectators into the sport to appreciate the sport in and of itself. I want people to know what it takes to play this at any level. It's you, one with the horse, It's the last mounted board game. I think we need to collectively get that information out to our audience.
All of it drives me, just the curiosity, wanting to know more every day and helping people find out more about these stories.